Hello? Hello, can you guys hear me? I think I'm live. I don't know. This is the first time I'm doing this. So just kind of. Oh dear, I can hear myself. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, cool. So I can hear myself back. Right, cool. Hello, how you guys doing? Like I wanted to do sort of a space lately just to sort of talk about some because there's a lot of crazy things that's been happening. A lot of things that were ongoing, and I think it could be fun to talk about. And I like the spaces, but it's not really um, the best way to sort of communicate with people who are sort of listening live. I don't think it shows up properly. Right, cool. Yeah, boy. Yeah, so I think there's kind of like a little delay on this as well. Probably about 30 seconds. And yeah, the reason I wanted to do a YouTube instead of a space, um, is just because like I can talk with you guys more. So like you're in the chat, and I can also talk about the things that um I want to discuss. So first off, with the whole Netflix, let me just add my browser to the screen so that I can then just start going around doing stuff. Also, I don't know if I'm gonna open Panellet or not. I don't know. Yeah, and YouTube's much better for rewatching. Like you can just pick up things, clip things and stuff. It's really good. So yeah. Anyway, so Netflix are currently having to do a hearing in front of the Senate, in which they're having to try and um, argue that them buying Warner Brothers wouldn't be a monopoly, which is not going very well. Oh yeah, this blew up, Eddie. Um, this is that one moment. I am coming to it. Um, so like yeah, so according to BBC News, Netflix and Warner Bros. Struggle to defend merger. They're saying that it's going to be like a monopoly. And I think a lot of people in government are going to be against it a lot. But yeah, so anyways, whilst they're giving this big hearing, um, Netflix had to comment on the 45-day window for the theatrical viewing, which has been a sticking point for them going through a lot of the discussions because um, Netflix is a studio that's famous for not wanting to support cinema and actually wanting to push movies into streaming a lot sooner than the 45-day window. I think because of the whole COVID thing, there was like sort of a new industry standard of 17 days, and I think Netflix is more wants to sort of push that standard, so they're having to come out and say like, "Oh no, we're not gonna destroy cinemas. We're gonna stick to the 45-day window." But um, in doing so, they touched on um, the sort of theatrical exclusivity of movies. And Ted Sarandos mentioned this. Also, if you can't if you can't hear the audio, just let me know. You should be fine to hear it, but like if you can't hear it, just let me know. Oh, you can't hear it. Um, Damn. So this is the issue with sort of doing this live. Audio. So okay, give me 2 seconds then. Okay. I'm just gonna quickly download the video and then put it in through StreamYard. Okay, where's StreamYard?
Fully exclusive 45-day theatrical window. Fully exclusive to theaters, yes. And will this be self-enforced? In other words, if you fall short of that, that is the industry. It is the industry standard for self-enforcement. However, routinely movies that underperform, the window moves a little bit. And Superman was a little shorter window, and Sinners was a little longer window, but they still could refer to it as a 45-day window. And so I
Right. So you guys heard it that time. So yeah, so what he was saying was because Superman underperformed theatrically, which it lost. I think the amount that they sort of ran with that it lost was sort of the 42 million, um, which resulted in Superman having a 35-day window. So that meant that it lost its exclusivity to theatricals, and then it got pushed out to streaming a lot sooner, so that they could make more money on it and stop losing as much money in theaters. So yeah, like Superman really underperformed, and people are trying to spin this. They're trying to spin this like it didn't underperform, but that is just not. That is not the reality.
a direct question then. Will this be a fully exclusive 45-day theatrical window? Fully exclusive to theaters, yes.
And this is
will this
under
be
oath from Netflix
self-enforced?
as
In
well.
other words, if you fall short of that, that is the industry. It is the industry standard for self-enforcement. However, routinely movies that underperform, the window moves a little bit. And Superman was a little shorter window, and Sinners was a little longer window, but they still could refer to it as a 45-day window.
Also, I give you guys the Streamlabs if you want to come on and just chat about some of this. I'm gonna be on, like, I'm just gonna be on for like about an hour or so. Like, I just thought it'd be fun to like talk about this and talk about some of the rumors, because there's some like Batfleck stuff. And I wanted to like, I want to talk a little bit about the what Oliva was saying sort of last week with like training Superman and stuff, and I just thought that's really cool. The reason given was so fans could watch Peacemaker season 2, even though that's made for adults, and Superman was for a family audience. Yeah, no, literally, but like that was the I mean, that's the sort of um they that's what they run with, but I don't believe that is actually the case. So like if you look at where was this? No, it's not this one. Close that one. So like Superman's budget is believed to be around 325 million, 225 million for production, 100 million for marketing. So under that premise, Superman lost 42 million because it had to split like 30% of it with the theaters. But this is the sort of the budget amount that was sort of fabricated later on. Whereas if we go back to what Forbes was saying, so yeah, yeah, so even going to 308 million before taking on other expenses, Superman's net falls below the 350. Yeah, so so this is saying that they lost 42 million, but then if we remember the THR source said that Superman's budget was actually 363 million. So by that estimate, then Superman didn't underperform by 42 million. With this budget, it underperforms by 155 million, which makes a lot of sense then as to why they would pull it so quickly and push it straight into streaming. What do you guys think? Because then this is sort of like, it really is pointing towards it being true then. But like, to be honest, everything that I mean, for the most part, most of what Gunn said when he's been in that CEO position has been a lie, or has been a fabrication, or has been sort of modifying the truth slightly. They went crazy with marketing. I wouldn't be surprised if they spent over 100 million. Yeah, I mean, I think they did spend over 100 million. Like, even just sort of well, if you even just looking at like the trailer was everywhere, and it got the amount of it got a similar amount of views as like the Avengers movies and stuff. And this, like, the Spider-Man, there was a couple of Marvel movies that were that like the most viewed movie trailers or comic book movie trailers, and then suddenly Superman's up again, like amongst them. But then if you look at the box office performance of all of those movies, all of those Marvel ones succeed, whereas the Superman movie just completely falls short. Like, it just makes no sense. Like, things don't add up with this movie. Like, the analytics, the sort of impact that it's had, like, or lack of impact rather. Like, too many things don't make sense for this movie. So, but yeah. So then James Gunn is now sort of like repeating the same steps of Superman with Supergirl, and that sort of they're doing the puppy bowl thing. I think that worked out amazingly for them last time. So they're doing puppy bowl again. But all while that's going on, Netflix is Paramount is still fighting Netflix on purchasing Warner Brothers. So whilst Netflix was speaking to the Senate or whoever the regulators that they're having to talk to, Ellison was writing an open letter to the UK and Europe regulators, stating that if they bought Warner Brothers, it would not be a monopoly. I think they're trying to get people to maybe worry less about the future of CNN. I think that's the sort of like, that was sort of like mentioned. So you're seeing that the audience is better served by greater choice, not less choice. By creating a monopolistic or dominant entry. Yeah, so Paramount's basically trying to say that, like, with Netflix taking Warner Brothers, that would be a monopoly. And that's even like, it's not even just Paramount that are saying it. Like, even at the Senate hearing, someone was dressed up as Mr. Monopoly behind Ted Sarandos, which I thought was really funny. Yeah, like, Paramount are really pushing for it. Like, they're not pushing their bid up yet, which Warner Brothers does actually want them to do that. So it's so funny because, like, you've got Warner Brothers and Netflix in the Senate hearing, sort of like answering to the fact that they wouldn't be a monopoly, you've got Paramount on one side, sort of writing letters to regulators and stuff, sort of throwing shade at Netflix. And then on the inside of like on top of all of that, on the inside of Warner Brothers, you've got insiders talking about like time to put up and shut up for David Ellison if he wants to own the Warner Brothers Discovery Media empire. He's got a couple of weeks to decide. That's the message coming from WBD's Mercurial CEO David Zaslav. So like, I think people on Twitter just think I'm like trolling or something when I'm just talking like when I'm like every now and then I'm just talking about like, oh yeah, Paramount's still like they're still coming after that Warner Brothers cake. And I think people like I get people who reply and say like, oh, it's like time's over and stuff, like time's up, Netflix has won and stuff. But it's like, okay, like I totally get that and I totally agree. Like, yes, like yeah, looks like it's over, looks like Netflix have won, but like I can't deny the fact of like, okay, so why is New York Post only like 2 days ago saying that time's running out for Paramount, according to David Zaslav. Like, if it was maybe like, if there was just like non-credible sources, then yeah, it would probably, if it was just Paramount like stamping their feet, I'd be like, okay, yeah, it's over. But like, there's so many conflicting messages coming out. So it's like, is Warner getting cold feet? Like, do they want Paramount to go to like what is it, like 108? So now it'll be like what, 120, 125 or something. 125 billion for Warner Brothers, man. That's a crazy amount. That would what be like the biggest sale in Hollywood history? Like, this is giving WB a big ass ego, thinking they are actually big boys. Yeah, but I mean, like yeah, I agree with you totally. Like, but you can't deny the things that the way that this has pushed up their stock pricing, like from what was it, like $7, $7 or $8 to $28. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. And how much of that is to do with the cuts that Zaslav has done? How much of that is to do with Paramount putting a price on Warner Brothers, or like putting like interest on the company, like to buy them out? Because I mean, what, like Paramount came to Warner Brothers with like what, 5-6 bids, like 5 or 6 bids or something before Warner Brothers went public with wanting to be bought out, and then like Netflix just sort of swooped in, which is kind of crazy as well, because Netflix, like, even that happened like so crazily. Ted Sarandos basically said like, if you don't accept the deal like today, then Netflix is walking away, like walking away from the deal. So like Netflix like totally pushed Warner Brothers into, like, just totally spooked them into agreeing to this deal. But did they? Like, I don't know. Like, are they conspiring? Because I mean, like, Netflix is just in a win-win position right now. Like, if Netflix secures Warner Brothers, then they get like a hell of a lot of IP. They get a legacy studio. They get like a seat at the table of like actual theatrical releases. They get so much power as well. They get, not only do they get like a seat at the table of theatrics, but they also get to be able to control the theatrical window. And that's like another reason of why people are worried about Netflix taking over them, is because, I mean, like, if you look at like the start of 2025, Netflix came out and they were like, oh, like, cinema is an outdated concept. So for them to then end 2025 by agreeing to buy a legacy studio and then focusing on um cinema, and what did Sarandos say, that he wanted to win the box office, he wanted to like to get accolades and stuff like that. That's a crazy 180. So like it's completely understandable that people are really skeptical on Netflix and just like um and just not sure that when they say one thing they're actually going to follow through with it. Because I mean that's why they're, I mean I think that's why their stock dropped. I mean Netflix's stock dropped 30% since they ended into like agreement to purchase Warner Brothers. Like they've lost, was it like 150 billion dollars in market share? But like I mean the stock's sort of leveling out at the moment, or at least it was last time I looked at it. Let me stock Netflix. Okay. um $81. See, yeah, so it's kind of like leveled out a little bit. I mean a little bit. It's doing, yeah, it's kind of, it is kind of leveling out a little bit, but it's not in a position where Netflix wanted it to be. I mean, they've lost literally the entire progress of 2025. Like they're back to the like the lowest low, which is crazy. So like, what's gonna happen with this? Like, because I mean, like I said, they're in a win-win situation, and they really are. Like they can walk away from this deal. Well, they can't walk away from the deal. If Warner Brothers walks away from the deal, they'll get like what, 2.8 billion. Um, so that's just free money that, like, oh, by the way, Paramount has to pay that. Like, what you think Netflix, Warner Brothers are gonna pay for that? No, definitely not. Paramount's paying for that. So like, and then what, and then like they still have their model, like they're still the number one streamer. Like even if like Netflix loses this bid, they don't really lose anything. Like they've lost like stock value, but that could be regained. But like for Paramount, this is sort of make or break. Like they need Warner Brothers to have that scale behind them to like compete against Netflix and against Disney and whoever else is left. Universal, I guess. The big mistake IMO was calling the movie just Superman, as there were countless other characters to focus on. Some fans said the Justice Gang stole the show, which doesn't sound like positive. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's, I don't really get James Gunn's choices, to be honest. It is like, obviously he wanted to, like, because I mean, like, realistically, you go back, he's not going to be given a Justice Gang movie. Like, we're not gonna, like, that wasn't the play. It wasn't like, oh, James Gunn, we need you to, like, we just want you to make a DC movie. Like, no, like Hamada was like Hamada and Emirates, like they hired him to make a Superman movie. David Cornsweet was already picked by Warner Brothers back in 2019. Like, it's not James Gunn's idea to make a Superman movie. That was given to him. Like he was given that role. And this was a way to sort of like replace Cavill, sort of like soft reboot parts of the DCEU in ways that he'd already done prior to that with the Suicide Squad. Like he'd already soft rebooted some of the DCU, and then basically just like used that movie to like completely undermine AR and his movie. Um, so much so by the given by who? Hamada? But yeah. So like he gets the Superman movie and then James Gunn just does James Gunn things and just crams it full of other characters. But yeah, it's so funny that BVS is still overstuffed, even though it has less characters. But that's just a hypocrisy um, that we've come to be accustomed to, I guess. So yeah, like don't really know which way it's gonna go for Warner Brothers at this point. Like Netflix could absolutely win, Paramount could win, could go either way, to be honest. But one thing that did change recently is like apparently Trump came out and said that um well, he said a lot of stupid stuff, and then also said that he's decided he shouldn't be involved and that the Justice Department will handle it. Um, so yeah, so he's stepping back. Hi Ty, you okay? So yeah, so like Trump is stepping back away from the decision where so like because he sort of had his scales on the he's had his fingers on the scales beforehand. Like I don't know why, because that's completely like unpresidentially to be so close to it. That's crazy. But yeah, so it seems like the entire Trump element has sort of been removed from the Paramount bid. What was the Kushner? I think it was someone was involved with it. They left. So now and then POTUS is saying he's left. So it just seems it just seems to be like it's just Paramount left that is in for the long haul. Um, but I think either way, um, I think either way, really, depending on like, doesn't really, I don't think it really matters who, if like Netflix or Paramount win it, because I think either way, Zack's going to be back. I think the Paramount or Netflix angle at this point is just sort of, as I said, like the other day, was just it's arguing about delivery of Snyderverse. Like, is Paramount like Paramount would give theatrical and physical releases? That is like two huge bonuses. There's two reasons why I was sort of against Netflix purchasing Warner Brothers is because I want theaters to be protected and I want theatrical releases to continue to be developed and released. So that's like the main two reasons why I was put off by Netflix. But like in amidst all of this going on, like that deal is uncertain. Like whoever's going to come out is going to come out. All while that's going on, like Zach's on Instagram and Zach's teasing um Snyderverse and all of this stuff. Most commonly, like most notably lately with this pottery pick where he posted up Dark Knight Returns. So and if you remember, he did the same thing with Final Crisis, where he posted up the turkey picture and had Final Crisis in the background. This is another similar thing. However, Dark Knight Returns is a lot more prominently positioned than what the Final Crisis was. Let me see if I can find the Final Crisis. Zack Snyder pick. See, and this is much better than like Spaces, because I mean like and with a space, it's hard for me to sort of like um show what I'm talking about. But with this, it's so much easier that I can just be like, okay, like just bring it up on the screen and then everyone can see. Might do some more of these as well. Like, I don't know, this like they're fun. I just get really anxious when I do them. Um, okay, so first, so there's that's Zack Snyder's post on Vero from a couple of years ago. So it was a Thanksgiving it was a Thanksgiving image where he had the turkey, and in the background you can see the Final Crisis book. Uh, there it is, Final Crisis. So yeah, so this, you see what I'm saying? And like those books on top of Final Crisis, those are Zach's um like storyboard and script books. So it's clear to see that, like, in my opinion, like this is Zach saying like, all right, like Final Crisis, also here's some script books because there's a new script. And there's two script books as well. So what? I mean JL2 and JL3. So those the two Final Crisis books. Cool. Love that. Hope that's true. Well, I mean, it is true, like, because I mean, we already know that ZSJL2 and 3 is based on Final Crisis, but like, um, yeah, I think we know he has a new script for them. Okay, so I think they made Diaper Man to ruin Superman's image to general audience. Zack Snyder's Man of Steel made Superman interesting. Most people thought Soup was boring before MOS. So many Diaper Man. Well, I mean, they maybe failed because nobody watched the movie. To be honest, and like everyone, like the majority of people that saw it in America. I guess so. It just did so badly. Um, overseas, I think it made like what 9 million in China, which is crazy. Um, and that was during its entire run in China. Whereas I think BVS made what like 90 million, and that was in like a week or two because it got pulled early because there was a Chinese movie that was taken over. Plus including uh X-Sting and Secret Haram seemed inappropriate for children's character. Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's inappropriate. I think it's inappropriate, to be honest. Like, and just like, I don't know. I got really squeamish when I saw the giant eyeball get like poked and prodded. That was horrible. Ugh. Just nasty imagery and themes throughout. Superman getting kicked in the nuts. You ever wish you wanted to see that? You ever wish you want to see Superman getting kicked in the nuts? We're eating good now, though, right? Not sure about the turkey pick, but the TDK behind was 100% on purpose. I mean, like, well, I think both of them are, because I mean, like, if you ask Zach, he always says, he said like always both. When people asked him, is there any reasoning behind his like cryptic tweets, or is he just having fun with them? And Zach said always both. So like, yes, he's having fun with his tweets, but he does position his tweets in ways that could be construed that things are going on. What another thing with this post, um is the pots that people have mentioned on here. So like you've got like what three? You've got there's 6 big pots on here. One medium, one I guess. I don't know. The theory is that the 3 pots with lids is sort of like Man of Steel, BVS, LSJL, and there's 3 more pots left. So maybe Dark Knight Returns in form of Batfleck, ZSGL2, ZSGL3, and yeah, okay, Tyler. Medium is the AyerCut, which, like, I don't know, that could be coming. Like, is that coming? Because Zack and David were at a party recently. Do I have the image? Let me see. This was like Zack and David were at a party recently. And that was for, I believe it's this guy, Turan Tactical. I think the company is like they're involved with guns, clearly. So like whether it's like training or whether they make props or something for the movies, I'm not 100% sure on that. I think from the looks of it, it looks like training. So like they're involved with like Last Photograph, Zack's other movies, like more than likely Sucker Punch, David's movies as well, because he has like a lot of guns in his movies, like The Beekeeper and stuff like that. So they were at a party, birthday party for that guy, and there was people obviously getting really excited about this and starting to put 2 and 2 together and saying like, oh well, Zack and like Zack and David like hanging out. Like, what's going on? Is something coming? So people were like asking them in the comments, like, oh, is something coming about like out about from this? Like, is the AyerCut coming back? And then I believe it's an actress, the actress that was there, or the influencer or the content creator or what, like whatever. I don't know what. Don't she? I think she's an actress. I think she's an actress. Got a movie coming out this year. So she was replying to people's comments, and in one of them, someone asked, "AyerCut is happening," in which she replied with like an emoji, sort of covering her eyes. And then in another one, someone asked her, Zack, so someone asked in the comments, Zack, have you and David talked about the AyerCut of Suicide Squad? Hopefully we'll get it soon. To which this lady then replied, yes. So what that might mean, don't know. Is she just feeding in the hype? Is she sort of at any position where she can like confirm anything? Don't know. So I would take this with like a huge grain of salt, but like obviously there was rumors like sort of back in like before Gunn became CEO, that there was rumors that the AyerCut was in talks to be sort of finished off and released, which that movie only needs like a couple of million in VFX. You could totally just knock that movie out quickly. You turn around. In fact, like you could get both. You could get both David Ayer Suicide Squad and Schumacher's Batman Forever, the Schumacher cut. You could get both of them out for 10 million, 10 million easily. And that's something that Gunn hasn't done for like what, 4 years. He's been in CEO position now for 4 years, still hasn't done that. Said to his friend that he would do that. Said that he would be like, oh, Gunn AyerCut tweet. So like whatever David wanted to do, I would support. So like there you go. I tweeted long ago, I'd support whatever David Ayer movies almost wanted to do. He knows that Ayer wants his cutout. David's even had even went on sort of interviews and stuff where he's talked about still wanting to get his cutout. There's been trending events and stuff, so like, but yeah, sorry, I forgot. We're not supposed to look at Guns all tweets, I guess, are we? That tweet, I'm pretty sure it's deleted. Like to time, most of his tweets are deleted. You have to take screenshots because he just deletes them. For no reason though. For no reason. Don't dig into that. So yeah, James was fine with releasing it up until he got put into a position where he had the power to actually release it, and then he sort of went quiet on that. So yeah, a good friend, a good friend. But if Zack and David were talking at this party, like we don't know what was discussed, we don't know how long they were with each other, we don't know if this is the first time they've been hanging out, but like David was really supportive of the Snyder Cut movement when that was when that was happening. Zack's mentioned the AyerCut before in the past in interviews as well, and he also supports like David getting his cut out. So if things are sort of coming to a head, if like Guns DCU is underperforming, according to Netflix, according to THR, losing 155 million or something at the box office, which would then sort of put their we've earned 100 million sort of speech. Like, where would you put that? Is that putting it back to net zero, or is that the 100 million after recuperating all of the losses from theatrical? I don't know, but it's like 155 million loss. Clayface, I don't know how Clayface is going to do. I think this is a movie that like literally nobody asked for. So there is others, but I'm not sure what you mean, Ty. What do you mean? But then you've got like Supergirl that's going to come out. Supergirl, they're already saying Supergirl's going to underperform. What was it? It was Warner Brothers saying that they're expecting what 300 million, no, 500 million for Supergirl. That's what they want, but whether they'll get that, I highly doubt it. Puck News have, I think Puck News have said recently that Warner Brothers has kind of drawn a line on DC for this year, 2026 already, without a DC movie even come out. They've already sort of drawn a line under it to go, okay, we're not expecting much from DC this year, which is kind of crazy because like Warner Brothers is being bought out. You would expect one of their like most profitable and most recognizable brands to be sort of like doing the best it can be, really, but that kind of isn't the case here. So like Puck News mentioned that, and then there's also like James Gunn's contract was renewed up until sort of like mid 2027, I think was the case. So James Gunn's only going to be in his position until, I think it takes him up until finishing Man of Tomorrow. And then there's uncertainty about his future. But quite honestly, like I don't really see him, like I don't see him getting to continue with DCU if he is going to continue in any aspect. I think that would be really restrained, if not let go, to be quite honest, if it continues on the way it's going. But I mean, like, who knows how 2026 is going? Like, if Warner Brothers is like underlined 2026 to be a year that they're not expecting a lot from DC, then it might be a year that Warner Brothers um announce things for the coming years, for the next years. So what could they possibly announce that would bring hype to DC if the DCU itself is not bringing that hype? Because I mean, we can even look on Instagram and see that Zack Snyder's pulling more likes and more engagement than James Gunn is with his announcements for like a literal DC movie. Man of Tomorrow, the Superman 2 movie or whatever. That's a sequel, but not a sequel. So don't worry about it. I don't know. But like who knows? Like I think this year we could see an announcement of the AyerCut. I think this year we could see an announcement of Zack Snyder returning to DC. We might get an announcement of a Batfleck movie because now that's another rumor that's been going around. Apparently, according to now, this is rumors, right? And I get it. Like, it's probably not like it may not be true. Like, who we don't know. There's a lot of moving parts at the moment. There's a lot of rumors coming out. There's a lot of things being said. So I think it's good to like look at them and discuss them. But like take it with a pinch of salt. Keep in mind that like there are like Zack's name is clickbait, like straight up. Like Zack's name is clickbait because they love using Zack's name to drive engagement and drive attention. So like you always got to remember that with Zack because like people see Zack Snyder's name, they're gonna click. They're gonna click like you do like a story. Zack Snyder has pitched a Watchmen style solo Batfleck movie to Netflix. Now every part of that sentence is awesome. Like every part of that sentence sounds awesome. Like so Zack Snyder returning, that would be cool. Watchmen style. So okay, so we're going back to that gritty DC, going back to that sort of page by page adaptation. A comic book literally brought to life, but like there's even in this there could be speculation like so I had a little like I tried to have a look around as well. Like Netflix Junkie was also sort of talking about this. Like a couple of weeks ago. Which I thought was interesting. So like 2 weeks ago they were mentioning it as well. But they're talking about it is and I know they don't have sources as far as I can tell. There's no real like they preface this article as if to be like, oh, Zack Snyder aims for a Watchmen style Dark Knight gritty returns movie. But nowhere in this article do they say that, like, according to anyone X or whatever, that he's actually has talked to them or has pitched it. It just says Snyder now aims for this. Which Zack's talked about doing Dark Knight Returns movie multiple times in articles and interviews in the past. So there's two ways you can look at this. You can look at this as like Zack could be coming back to make a 100% like one-to-one adaptation of Dark Knight Returns with Ben Affleck. That's going to be separate from the DCU. And if it's a one-to-one adaptation of Dark Knight Returns, it could more than likely be separate from the Snyderverse. So it could be an entirely new Elseworld chapter that's being opened with that specifically just for that one movie. Or there's a way that you could spin it as well, which some other people have been talking about as well. Is Dark Knight Returns? Is that like a synonym for like I don't know if synonym's the right word. Is it meaning that Ben Affleck is returning back in some aspect for the Snyderverse. There is like there's two ways you could look at that really, with you sort of like you could because that's what, like, Zack knows what his fan base is like. He knows what we're wanting as well. He knows what we're asking for when we say Batfleck movie. So it's really interesting that he then like posts Dark Knight Returns. Like, where is it? That he posts the Dark Knight Returns. Is it saying like, oh yeah, Batfleck, he's the Dark Knight, he's coming back, he's returning. So is like a metaphor for just Batman himself coming back, or an actual adaptation? Like, honestly, I want both, but I want the Batfleck solo versus Deathstroke movie first. Like, obviously, of course. Zack returning would break the internet. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it would. Absolutely it would. Because I mean, like, look, he joined Instagram at the end of last year. Now like 660,000 followers. Like, post blowing up. Like, even the post where he had, where is it? I think there's one of these posts. I think it's of Superman that has 907,000 likes. There's more likes, as I said, than the announcement of James Gunn's Superman Man of Tomorrow movie. So like that's like just think about that. That's crazy. So like you've got a director who's left DC in 2017 posting 10-year-old pictures of Henry Cavill as Superman, like even more than 10-year-old pictures, because that's Reeves's suit. Like, so that's even older. Like that's pre 2013. These images. So like, and you've got that level of hype being generated by someone who's got no connection to DC. It's a no brainer, and it's like it's no wonder these rumors have circulated. Like, if Zack has that much like sort of like attention on him for DC, absolutely it makes sense to get the guy back in, finish the universe, make other projects, like, and it could be that a start of a new relationship with Zack and Warner Brothers, like one that was sort of repaired with the Full Circle event, and then now you've got like the possibility of Zack returning to DC. Are we gonna get the Sucker Punch extended cut? Like, are we gonna get the Snyder cut of Sucker Punch this year? That could be a possibility. We might also get the 300 prequel. There's a lot of opportunities that come with this, and it's not just DC as well. All it would take is hashtag restored and the internet would be set up late. Imagine Warner. I think like it would be the most poetic for Warner Brothers to do it after everything that's happened. It would mean the most for Warner Brothers to do it. And then, but yeah, like to literally like you just have be like a new picture of the Trinity. Like you'd have Cavill, Affleck, and Godot, and then they're just like in their cost, like in their outfits, and then just hashtag restored. That would be insane. Warner Brothers tweets that. Holy shit. That would be crazy. That would be a day not to miss on Twitter or Instagram, wherever. So yeah, that would be insane. But like, so yeah, so like, but Zack did want to make a Dark Knight Returns movie, so there could be truth to that. So I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting to see which way this goes. Um, and like I said, I honestly think he is I think he is back or will be back. Bunch of DCEU Annie are coming up. DCU animated. Yeah, yeah. But I think the problem with DCU animated is it just doesn't really, I don't know, doesn't bring in that much money, which is kind of supports the point that Warner Brothers have sort of drawn line under DC for this year. And again, that's not they're not my words. Like it's from Puck News. Like you can go look at that. Unfortunately, I can't bring it up anymore because I don't have the Puck News trial account anymore. Zack always wanted to explore the Joker Robin thing. No way he'll make a reboot. Um, I don't think Zack would make when I said that, when I said he would, when I said there's a possibility that Zack would make sort of a Batfleck, a Batman Returns movie outside of the Snyderverse. I'm not really talking about a reboot. Like, I'm just talking about an Elseworlds, like a new entry in the Elseworlds chapter. That would sort of sit alongside Watchmen 300 in terms of comic adaptations that Zack's done. But yeah. Holy shit, you're live. Yes. Yeah. Hey, Joe, I'm live. I thought it could be fun. Like, and some people wanted to, like, I did get asked if I was going to do a space or whatever, because I usually do spaces and stuff. I don't know, might do a space maybe tomorrow or something, but I just thought it could be fun to jump in a YouTube stream where we can like look at some of the things that's been going on. So what else? There was one more thing that I wanted to cover. Oh yeah. Thanks for the late birthday. Thanks. I don't know. I forgot the word. When you like congratulate someone on something. So yeah. But yeah, no, there was just maybe one more thing I wanted to touch on before I jump off, because it's like 7:30. I'm getting kind of tired. I need to eat and go to bed. The behind the scenes pics of Highlander show that Cavill could absolutely play Superman again. Oh yeah, no, like absolutely. And like you saw there was images of Cavill training after he had his injury. I think Cavill training 2025. People said they were AI, but they're not AI images because they were posted directly, like they're on his Instagram. They're on his Instagram. But yeah, like this is he is Superman still. Like that is Superman. I just wish imagine if he'd had like the sort of the mohawk, like the what did I say, mohawk? Dumbass. The what is the word? The mullet. Yeah, like he'd had more like the mullet in ZSJL. That would have been amazing. Like after he'd been brought back to life, like he had the black suit and he had like the mullet and stuff. Like that would have been really good. But again, something that one of us just didn't understand, that they were just like, oh no, we can't have him do that because we don't really understand like why he's doing that. But yeah, so yeah, so like if the Snyderverse is to come back, then people like Jay Oliver would come back. And what Jay was saying was crazy. Like people were arguing with him, saying that like, oh well, why did Superman like how did he lose against Kryptonian on his first day, whatever? And then Jay Oliver was saying like, oh, like Superman fought against trained and genetically bred Kryptonians that spend their entire existence to learn Kryptonian warfare and martial arts, which is totally true. So like Superman overcame great odds to like defeat these people. And Jay calls him a plain brawler because Clark is just a regular guy with no training. But then he says eventually he would see Batman training Superman post Justice League. So he'd be pretty scary by the time he confronts Darkseid. And oh my god, did this post blow up and create a whole crazy level of like, oh my god, Superman's not scary. Like, oh my, that's not what he's saying. Like, he's not saying Superman's scary to a child. Like, just think about it for like 2 seconds. Think about it. But yeah, how amazing would that be? And I like what I imagined it as. So you've got like Henry Cavill Superman was set to train martial arts under Ben Affleck's Batman before facing Darkseid. So you would have had like Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, all training to defeat Darkseid, like to train Superman up to make him a good fighter and everything. And the way I envisioned it, because I'm a nerd and like I watched Dragon Ball growing up, there's something called the hyperbolic time chamber, which is where like the fighters go to train for long periods of time because time like slows down in there. And like I know Batman couldn't invent something that slows down time, but what he could invent is something that like outputs sort of red solar energy so that weakens Superman without like kryptonite being needed to be used. Because I mean, like I think Batman like making a kryptonite chamber just so that they can train in is pretty sadistic. I don't know, but like red sun that could be used to sort of like weaken Superman to the point of like, oh, so he's still like strong and stuff, but like weak enough so that he can actually like train properly at Batman's level. And like I don't know, man. I think that's just because be like awesome. I don't really hope that we get that back. Like these are the sorts of things that like they were gonna touch on in those movies, and then like now we're just hearing sort of like snippets of them and stuff. Like my god, it could be so peak though. That could be so peak. Like even like Wonder Woman and stuff getting involved as well, because like she's like a demigod as well. Like god, that would have been incredible. Yeah, it would have been amazing. Training while badly injured shows a huge amount of dedication. Yeah, like Cavill doesn't back down from anything. Like he's got his mindset on that. He's gonna get back on it straight away. I love how those people took no time providing all their arguments of pure dishonesty. Oh yeah, I mean like totally like the amount of lies and stuff that surround the Snyderverse is insane. Like you'll still have people who say like, oh, they'll call him like Cook Spider Superman and stuff because of like the saying like, oh, Lois has his baby or whatever, and it's like, okay, like what is that? Like what is that canon to? Oh, that's right, nothing. Like it doesn't like that's like an old story point that was just a talking point and never like made it any further into the movie. Like it's crazy. But these are the people. Hope Supergirl 2026, Clayface 2026, and Man of Tomorrow 2027 all gets better box office, lower than Black Adam and Morbius. I mean, I don't know how Clayface is gonna do. I think Clayface is gonna do all right, but I think it's gonna be a similar situation as like Shazam, where it's not gonna make a lot of money, but because the box office was very low, then it's not gonna lose a lot of money. So I think that is like one sort of thing that they're kind of trying to hold on to a little bit. Um, with Supergirl, I think Supergirl is going to lose money. I think it's going to lose quite a bit of money. And then it's literally all eyes on Man of Tomorrow. Like that's, I mean, I think we're gonna know the trajectory of Gunn's career before like Man of Tomorrow comes out. I don't think it's gonna rest on Man of Tomorrow. I think things are gonna be in place before Man of Tomorrow comes out. Oh yeah, absolutely. Superman thinks this will be easy, and the room goes red, and he is a lot closer to Batman in strength. Yeah, like absolutely. Like it could like tie out the levels, and then you just have like Batman and Superman like sparring with each other, like lifting like enormous weights and stuff. Because I mean, like Batman can like in the comics, like he can lift a lot more weight than a regular human. So like I don't know, they could really push it. And could be really cool. Um, I don't see doing well at all. Yeah, no, like I think like DC's gonna struggle for in this year. But yeah, no, like I don't know. So that's some of the stuff that I wanted to cover. Um, this was fun to like just hang out and just talk to you guys in the street. See, this is a lot better than this is better than being in a space. Whereas like with a space, like like it's more of like a one-to-one discussion or like a couple of people having a conversation. Um, and then you've got other people listening into that conversation. So like spaces are good for like if you go in like sort of like with a structured sort of like mindset and you've got like topics that you want to hit, but like with a space, like with a stream, like the stream's been really good where I'm able to sort of like just bring up things and sort of talk about them and like have a look at them and show you kind of more what I mean. Um but yeah. Um I might do more of these streams, like because I think they could be fun to just sort of like a couple of week, just like okay, let's just break down the latest things that have been happening, like with like Paramount, Warner Brothers, Netflix, Snyderverse, AyerCut, blah 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 blah, Batfleck, all that stuff. Um, and like I like talking to you guys and I like sitting hanging out with you. Um, but I think it could be good to like open the panel up to people. So like next time I'm on, if you guys want to come on the panel as well, and you want to take a mic, have a talk about some of the topics that I'm like covering at the time, yeah, that could be really fun. But yeah, thanks so much for coming to hang out. This was fun. Hope you guys have a great night. And yeah, like I think yeah, we'll do another one because I mean, like, we need to start like we stop building up hype for the 214, like the trend event. 14th February 2000, like the 14th February 2026 is what the 50th year anniversary of the first Snyder Cut trailer. So yeah, get hyped. But yeah, thanks guys. So like, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.